Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review. And I have to admit, I'm a little nervous about today's video. And the reason why is because we're taking a look at these brand new Super 7 Ultimates 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And to be honest with you, I am not a big fan of Super 7. Like, I have a couple of their figures that I'm okay with, but for the most part, I'm not a big fan of what they do. But I do love these turtles. And no other company has made this version of the turtles in the modern era. Like, we haven't seen a super articulated, well sculpted, highly detailed set of these turtles from any company. And it had to be Super 7. So here we are. I will say though, they look amazing through the packaging. And you know what? That's another thing that's kind of making me nervous because Super 7 always does an amazing job with the presentation of their figures. Their stuff always looks good in the box because they do such a great job with the packaging. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, like, damn, these look good. But are they going to be good when I take them out of the box? I don't know, but we're going to find out in just a minute here. Like I said, I'm very nervous and excited because they look good, man. And we're not going to spend too much time on the packaging. Like I mentioned before, all the figures look amazing in their boxes. Each one of them has some really cool artwork on the front and on the back. And yeah, the presentation is definitely top notch on these figures, but there's a lot to cover here, so I don't want to take too much time talking about cardboard boxes. But I do like what they did here. The figures look great. The artwork is great. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to point out, which was kind of cool. On the back of each box, they gave each character like a funny description of themselves. For Donatello, it says the fierce fixer with the bold bow staff. For Michelangelo, it says the cunning comedian with the nimble nunchaku. For Leo, it says the selfless slicer with the tenacious twin katana. And then lastly, for the GOAT, Raphael, it says the berserk battler with the savage sai. So yeah, really good stuff with these boxes. Like I said, Super 7 always does a great job with the entire presentation. With these here, the turtles look good inside the packaging. We get some amazing artwork, and then there's some comedy thrown in there too. So everything that we love about turtles is on the boxes. But enough about the pretty boxes. Let's go ahead and get these guys out and take a look. All right, guys. So here we have the 4 turtles right out of their boxes. And I've got some great news. These figures do not suck. Thankfully, they turned out pretty nice. Now, they're not perfect. There's definitely some things here and there that could be better. But for the most part, I think Super 7 did a nice job with this set of turtles. And I've got to say, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm having a good time with these figures. And yeah, I think they're pretty good. So we'll talk about each one of them individually. But first, I kind of wanted to give you like my general thoughts. First thing I want to note is that right out of the packaging, like, these joints are super, super stiff, especially at the hips. So you want to be very careful there. With these, as soon as I felt like the amount of resistance that was in there and felt how tight the hips were, I warmed them up right away. I soaked them in hot water and, you know, I was able to get the joints free. And now things are moving nicely. But right out of the box, the hips were super tight. And, you know, aside from that, I don't have any big like QC issues or anything. Most of the paint is very clean. I love the fact that each turtle kind of has a different shade of green. I think that's really dope. Makes them each feel like an individual. So that's cool. I love the fact that we could store all the weapons on the characters themselves. That's dope. That's essential when it comes to turtles. You want to be able to like have their weapons showing on them. And yeah, man, I think these are cool. And with these turtles, Super 7 made it a point to add like more articulation. And, you know, they started to experiment with things that they really don't deal with all that much. I mean, it's standard stuff, but for whatever reason, they don't do it, like double jointed knees and elbows. With these turtles, they included that stuff, and I think they did a pretty good job. They definitely had some success with these experiments, but they have some work to do if they want to keep adding articulation to their figures. But I think for the most part, they did a pretty good job with it here. Each one of them has a little bit of shading and different things going on. I'll show you real quick on Raph. On the belly here, there's a little bit of shading, which is nice. Not a whole lot back here, but you could see that they did a little bit of line work. Not a whole lot of paint on any of the belts. Like I said, we'll take a look at each one of them closely in just a second, but just want to show you that, yeah, there's not a whole lot of paint work or detail on the belts or on the elbow pads or anything. I mean, there's a little bit of variation in color, but there's no washes or anything like that. But, you know, I still think they look pretty good. I think it's a good looking set of figures. I didn't have any QC issues on mine. Most of the paint was very clean and well done. So yeah, man, I've got to say, right out of the box, I am impressed with these figures, and I was kind of expecting that I would hate them. So as soon as I took Donnie out of the box first, and I was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah, I think they did a nice job with these. And I opened up the rest, and yeah, I was happy with the whole set. So There we go. But let's go ahead and take a look at each one of them individually, starting off with Donatello. Alrighty, so here we have Donnie, and he's looking really good. I love his shade of green. It's kind of like a olive green. It looks good. And then as you can see back here, he is able to store the bow staff in the belt, but it is kind of loose, so it could fall out of there kind of easily. But if you have it angled correctly, should be okay. But aside from that, I don't really have any issues with this guy at all. He looks really good. And then taking a look at the details on Donnie, starting off with this head sculpt, he does come with two different heads, but we'll look at the other one in just a minute. But yeah, this one that's on him in the box looks really good. I do like that smile. The mask looks nice, and the mask kind of blends in with my background, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, this is a great looking head sculpt. And then, you know, the mask end pieces are plugged into the back of the head. You could remove those and swap them between the two different head sculpts. So you could change up the look right there. But yeah, that looks great. And then check out on the body here, you can see there's a little bit of paint on those creases on the belly here. And then you can see a little bit of shading on the arms. And then for the elbow pads, as you can see, they are two-toned, like two different colors of brown. And that's cool. I wasn't expecting that at first. I thought they were just going to be a solid color. Same thing down here with the knee pads. So those look good. And you can see there's a little bit of shading on him. Not a whole lot. It's very subtle, but I think it looks pretty nice. And then, you know, they did a pretty good job with the look of the joints. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but I think for the most part, it looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. And then same thing down here with the knees. You know, the pads kind of cover up a little bit of it. And then you can see on the shell here, it's not like a completely solid green color. Like there's a little bit of paintwork in the lines there. So that's nice. And, you know, that's pretty much the case on all the turtles. So that's good to see. But yeah, I think that Donatello looks really good. And then here's a look at his alternate head sculpt. And each of the turtles comes with two different head sculpts. If you pre-ordered these guys early with SUPER7, then, you know, they sent like additional head sculpts. I didn't get those since I got these from Big Bad Toy Store. But yeah, if you pre-ordered them early, you get a couple of different head sculpts. But I like the fact that each one of them came with two. And as far as Donnie's alternate head sculpt goes, I think this is awesome. I like that he has like a little bit of an angry facial expression. You know, the mask looks good. He looks angry or annoyed or something. So yeah, that's nice. And then you could see that on the back there, the mask ends are different on the two head sculpts. So you could swap those out and change up the look even more. And then as far as accessories go, we'll talk about the individual accessories that each one of them gets. And then we'll talk about the shared accessories, I guess you could say. Because all of them come with like the same extra hands and the turtle con and, you know, whatever. But we're going to talk about the individual accessories while we're doing the close-ups here. But in addition to the head sculpts, Donnie does come with some really cool looking goggles. And these are dope, man. Let me put these on. I love when companies give Donatello something to kind of show his like tech side, you know. I think I'll put these on wrong. There we go. But yeah, I always love when they give Donnie something to kind of show his love for tech and, you know, the scientist aspect of him. And I know these are just goggles, and it would have been cool if he came with some more stuff that kind of conveyed this type of thing when it comes to Donatello, but I do like these goggles quite a bit, and they fit on there nicely with no problem at all. And yeah, these are dope, man. I'm definitely going to display him with these goggles. I'll probably have him sitting up high like this or something. But yeah, I like that look a lot. And then in addition to the goggles, obviously he does get his bow staff. And the bow staff is cool. There's not a whole lot going on with it. You can see that it's wrapped in purple, and then the ends do have like a wooden texture. So yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I will say these guys don't come with a whole lot of accessories, but each of them gets a little something, and then the two head sculpts and the hands and stuff, so that's cool. But as far as Donatello goes, I love the goggles and the two head sculpts. And then next up, we have the leader, Leonardo. And, you know, obviously all these figures have the same exact body, so there's not going to be a whole lot of different things to say for each one of them, but I wanted to give them their shine, so we're going to take a look at each one of them very quickly. But yeah, Leo looks nice. You know, he does have the katanas back here that fit nicely into the sheaths, but for some reason, they don't go all the way down, so that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, this all looks good. This is kind of hanging here loose, so you can secure that down if you need to, maybe with some like blue tack or a glue dot or something, but yeah, that looks really nice. And Leonardo has some really nice head sculpts too. On this one here, he's kind of smiling. It's like a half smile, it looks like. So yeah, that looks good. And as far as the details on him, same as Donnie pretty much. I did want to kind of show you how the belts don't really have a lot of paint. They're just one solid color. Same thing back here. Actually, the ends of them have a little bit of yellow, so that's cool. But yeah, I think a little bit of a wash or something would have made this look a lot nicer. I know they're based on like an animated version of the Turtles, but yeah, I think this right here looks a little cheap, you know? Just looks like a piece of plastic, which I know that's what it is, but a little bit of paint would have gone a long way. And he has some shading too, as you can see right there. So yeah, there's some areas that would have benefited from a little paint, but for the most part, Leo looks good. And then for Leo's alternate head sculpt, we have him with the half smile once again, but this time he's showing some teeth. And I think this is a good looking head sculpt, but you know, the two head sculpts are a little too similar to each other. I mean, one of them has teeth showing and the other one doesn't, but they kind of convey the same emotion, don't you think? But they still both look really good. And then as far as accessories for Leo that are unique to Leo, all he really comes with are his katanas. And the katanas look okay, but there's like no paint on these things. They're very plain and plastic looking. And like I mentioned before, they do fit into the sheaths, but as you can see, you can't really like push it all the way down. And I've tried it like both ways, and that's as far down as it goes. So, you know, that's kind of weird. But, you know, the katanas do look cool and everything. And it would have been cool if he had like one more thing, you know, just one more thing that was unique to Leo. But aside from that, I like what he has going on. And then next up, we have Michelangelo, and he's looking really good too. As you can see, he's much darker than Leo and Donnie, but not quite as dark as Raphael back there. So, yeah, I love that they made them all different. And then, as you could see, he's able to store his nunchucks right here in the belt. And the belts are very soft plastic. So, you know, you could just slide those in there with no problem at all. Not a whole lot going on back here. You know, same thing we saw on the other guys. I like this head sculpt. The big old smile fits the character perfectly, obviously, and this is dope. I do wish that they painted the mouth a little different. Like, I wish that the, you know, background of the mouth was black instead of just a different shade of green. But aside from that, I don't really have any complaints with the head sculpt. I think it looks good. And then taking a quick look at the rest of the body. Again, you know, same type of shading and details and stuff. Some of the shading on him is a little bit more difficult to see because he's darker. But yeah, you could definitely see some on there. And then for Mikey's alternate head sculpt, he has a head sculpt that's slightly less goofy than the previous one. It's not quite serious, but you know, it's not quite as silly as the last head sculpt. He still has a big old goofy smile, so you know, that's perfect for Mikey. Yeah, so both head sculpts are nice. And then for his accessories, he does come with his nunchucks, and the nunchucks are able to store nicely right there in his belt. And these look pretty good. They're well painted and stuff. I like the orange color on there. It's a little bright here on camera, but it does look good. And then you could remove these things. I mean, the chain part. Oh, yeah, it is an actual chain, so that's cool. You could take that off, and then you stick these handles into these effects. So he gets some extra effects, which is nice. And the thing about these effects, though, is that they are spinning like in the same direction. So if he's holding them in opposite hands, it'd be like he's swinging them in opposite directions because they're kind of going the same way. But you know, that could be like a testament to his skill. And he has no problem holding on to these things. Let's go ahead and get him on there real quick. There we go. So yeah, he would be swinging them like that. And you can see that one's going that way. And then this one's going the other way. Because they are the same things, you know, just on opposite sides. But yeah, again, a testament to Mikey's skills. You know, supposedly he's the most skilled Ninja Turtle out of the bunch, right? So that works. And then last but not least, of course, we have the greatest turtle of them all, Raphael. And he's looking badass. This is a great looking head sculpt. And once again, you know, the sai fit right there in his belt. And, you know, you could even put these like back here if you want to. So you have some options. You want to have them stored back there. I like the way they look up front, though. I like being able to see all their weapons when they're just kind of standing there hanging out. So there we go. But yeah, Raph is looking great. I love the dark color on him. That's really cool. Are all the shells the same color? Yeah, they are. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, Raph, of course, is definitely my favorite of the bunch. So he looks really good. I'm happy with the way he came out. And then Raph's head sculpts are really nice. Starting off with this one here, as you can see, he is very angry, so that's perfect for him. The mask is very clean. The eyes look good. The Mask ends back here look nice. So yeah, that's a great looking head sculpt. And then as far as like the details on him go, like it's very hard to see the shading on him because he's much darker than the rest. But there's definitely some shading work going on there. It's just very subtle and difficult to see. The shell looks good back there. And yeah, good stuff for Raph. I really like the head sculpts and the colors, man. It just works perfectly for him. Ooh, and then Raph's alternate head sculpt is really dope. Check this out. I love this angry facial expression. He looks super pissed off. The mask looks good. I like that the eyes are a different shape. That's awesome. The mouth looks good. I do feel like the paint could have been a little better in the mouth area, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. But yeah, man, they killed it with this head sculpt. This is definitely my favorite head sculpt out of all the head sculpts that we've seen here today. And as far as accessories go, the only thing he comes with, the only unique thing he comes with are his sai. And, these are okay, but I don't like that the blades are like this plastic color. Same thing with Leonardo's katana. I don't know why they decided to keep the blades like this boring plastic color. They should have painted these or at least casted them in silver or something. I don't know, but I'm not a big fan of the way these look like this. I like the shape and the sculpt of them though. But yeah, I just wish they had a little bit more color to them. And again, I like the way that you can set them up right here, or you could set them up in the back. So you have some options there. So that's nice. And he has no problem holding on to them. They do look a little small, but, not a big deal. It's not like they're too small. They're just, it'd be cool if they're big, long blades. But as it is right now, I do like the size. So, yeah, when it comes to accessories, Donnie and Michelangelo both came with additional unique accessories. Leo and Raph did not, so that's unfortunate. I wish they would have each come with something that was unique to them. In addition to their weapons, I think that would have been cool. But aside from that, I do like the accessories that each one of them come with. In addition to the unique accessories that we've looked at, each one of them comes with 3 sets of hands. So they each get a pair of fists. They each have a set of gripping hands, and all the gripping hands hold on to the weapons very nicely. And then finally, each of them gets a set of open hands. And then each one of them comes with a turtle comm or shell phone. I can't remember what they call them in that series, but yeah, these look good, man. And they are accurate to the show, or at least they're accurate to the way they appeared in like the first couple of episodes. I was watching them recently, and yeah, they look just like this. So that is cool and everything, but the one thing that sucks about these is that I can't figure out how to get the turtles to hold on to them. So they only have like the one set of gripping hands, and the gripping hands that they have are specifically designed to hold on to the weapon. So you can maybe like, I don't know. Oh, the hands come off pretty easily, by the way. You can maybe like warm this up and get this open, but it's going to be like a super tight grip. Let's see if we get it in there. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can make this work, but you have to force it. Nah, that's all right, I guess. But they should have come with some. Nah, that looks dumb. They should have came with some hands that were designed for these turtle comms, because yeah, this doesn't. I mean, I guess this kind of works, but not really. So, as I mentioned, the hands are made for the weapons, so they're kind of somewhat tight grips for the weapon handles, but it doesn't really work for the turtle comm. You could force it, but it's not graceful whatsoever. It's a little clunky. I do like these quite a bit. I just wish that they were able to hold on to them because yeah, they have to be. Otherwise, what's the point of these? But aside from this, I think all the accessories are cool. As I mentioned, it would have been good if Leo and Raph came with one more thing that was specific to them, just like Mikey and Donnie did. But aside from that, I like the different hands, the weapons, and the 2 heads on each characters. All the head sculpts are nice. So yeah, the accessories are okay. Hey, so check this out. I just realized something pretty cool on these figures. I was getting ready to do my size comparisons, and I was just going to use like 2 of them to do comparisons with everything because I figured they were all the same height, but it turns out that's not the case. They are slightly different in height, and they all have the same body. So, as far as the body goes, all their shoulders are level, but their heads sit at different levels. And the reason why is because, they made the whole sizes different on each of them so that the heads kind of sit at different spots, and it just kind of gives the illusion that they're different heights, and that's really, really dope. It's most noticeable between Donatello and Michelangelo. When you have them next to each other, like Mikey is like taller by a lot compared to Donatello. So that's really cool. Look at that. Man, that's awesome. I love that they did that. It adds a little bit more uniqueness to each one. The fact that they're different colors and different heights definitely makes each one of them feel like an individual and not just like the same exact figure over and over. I mean, obviously, they're all the same bodies, so, they're going to feel very similar, but I like those little subtle differences they made to make each one of these guys feel unique. That is very cool. Yeah, so for the size comparisons, I was originally planning on just using two of these to compare to everything, but now I'm going to have to include the whole squad. Here they are alongside a knockoff of the original NECA Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Leonardo. And then next up, we have them alongside the SH Figure Arts Ninja Turtles Leonardo. And then here we have them alongside the NECA Razor from the original Ninja Turtles animated series. Next, we have them alongside the NECA Return to New York Donatello. And then next up, we have them alongside the NECA Archie Comics Stump Wrestling Raphael. And then here we have the crew alongside the NECA animated series Michelangelo. I'm ready for them to do like a complete update of these figures. They need those new arms and legs. I think they would kill it if they put these characters or like these designs on those stump bodies. And then here we have them alongside the SUPER7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. These figures are kind of based on the old Playmates figures. They're like updated versions of those. And I like that idea, but I was never fond of the execution on these figures. This one is okay, but honestly, I didn't really love these figures at all. I didn't even buy all four. Like, I ended up with 3 of them. I think I still need Donnie. I don't know if I'll ever get them, but these figures are currently sitting in a bin somewhere. I don't even know. I had to pull this one out for the comparison. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of these figures, and I'm really happy to see that SUPER7 did a way better job on these 2003 Turtles. And then here we have them alongside the NECA animated Ninja Turtles Master Splinter, and he is holding the cup that came with the SUPER7 Master Splinter, and that's currently the only SUPER7 thing on my Ninja Turtle shelf. Everything else is in bins. And then here we have them alongside the NECA Mirage Comics Master Splinter. I love that figure. It's definitely one of my favorites out of all the Mirage Comics Turtles from NECA. I'd be curious to see SUPER7 take on the 2003 animated series version of Master Splinter. I don't know. They did a good job with the Turtles here, but I'm still a little hesitant. I don't know how well they'll do with the rest of the characters. I guess we'll see. And then here we have them alongside the NECA Mirage Comics Rat King. Next, we have the NECA Mirage Comics Fugitoid. And then here's the NECA Ninja Turtles Archie Comics Jaguar. Next, we have them alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Ninja Turtles Casey Jones. Man, this figure is such a banger. Moving away from Turtles, here they are alongside the Marvel Legends Maximum Series Spider-Man. And we had to get them in here with Matt Murdock. So here we have them alongside the best classic Daredevil figure ever. This is the Mafex version. Here we have them alongside the Mafex Hush Batman. And then here they are with the Marvel Legends War Journal Punisher. And then next we have them alongside the Biker Mice from Mars Throttle by Nacelle. And then, of course, we had to get them in here with Odious. This is my original character, Odious from Unparalleled Universe. He is available now. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And for the final size comparison, here we have them alongside the NECA Mirage Comics Kirby, aka the King Jack Kirby. And if you haven't checked out the 2003 show, if there's one episode that I would recommend to you, it would be the one where they meet Kirby and they go into this crazy like Kirby universe. I think it's just Donatello that does it, but it's amazing. It's like right out of the comic book, almost like a shot-for-shot remake of it. Actually, it's been a while since I've seen it. From what I remember, it's like a shot-for-shot remake of what happened in the comic. In any case, check it out because it's pretty damn awesome. And yeah, that was a shitload of size comparisons, so I hope that was helpful for you. And then when it comes to articulation, I think that SUPER7 did a pretty decent job. This is like one of the first times they've ever made figures where they like focused on articulation. So, I would say that they still have like some things to kind of iron out, but for the most part, I like what they did here. I've been having fun playing around with these figures. And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to Turtles, I'm a little forgiving in the articulation department because their designs, they have all kinds of stuff that hinder the articulation. Obviously, there's ways to work articulation into Turtles figures. Companies have been doing it forever, but there's always going to be some type of limitations. But anyways, let's go ahead and see what we have going on here. First, I'm going to run through the articulation on this guy, and then I'm going to compare some of the joints on him to, joints on some other Ninja Turtle figures. But yeah, man, let's see what we have going on here. So starting off at the head, he does have movement at the upper neck and at the lower neck, which is really nice. So we get some good tilt action. He could look side to side. He could look up to about right there, and then the turtle shell kind of gets in the way. And then he could look down to about right there. So that's pretty nice. I love that they have the lower neck joint. It's a little tight at first. I mean, a lot of the joints are tight at first. I want to make sure that that's clear because you can mess around and break your figures. But the shoulders and the hips are very tight. I mean, the lower neck is tight as far as like, I feel like it's not getting all the movement that it should, but it doesn't feel like it's going to break or anything. The shoulders and hips, be careful, man. Those feel like they could break. Anyways, the head and the neck area is pretty nice. And then for the arms, I really wish they would have put like a butterfly joint in there because it looks like they could have. It looks like maybe they were going to, and then they decided to change their mind. So, I mean, a butterfly joint in there would have been nice, but as it is right now, they just have ball joints at their shoulders. And, their arms could go all the way around, but the turtle shell kind of gets in the way there. So, but the joint does go all the way around. And then you could bring their arms up to the side to about right there. So, yeah, that's not bad at all. And, punching poses and things like that are a little difficult because, at the shoulders, it's just ball joints. So, you're not going to be able to get too crazy with it. And then he does have, or they do have, upper bicep swivel, which is nice. And then here's the double jointed elbow. And check this out. This is kind of crazy what they got going on in there. Got a lot of moving parts. But as far as the range goes, so it bends to about right there. And, I'm not too mad at that. I feel like a little bit more would have been ideal. But, you have the elbow pad in there, so kind of hinders things. But yeah, like that's not too bad. That's pretty good range, I would say. Definitely better than their previous Ninja Turtle figures, which only had single joints. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Is that acceptable for a Ninja Turtle or is that complete trash? I would say that that's okay, man. I mean, I'm not mad at that. And then at the wrist, he does have a swivel and a hinge. Most of the hands, I mean, all the hands are just on pegs. Most of them move in and out like that, but the weapon gripping hands do have the vertical hinge. So yeah, as far as the arms go, I'm not too mad at what we have going on here. I think they should have made the shoulders different though. Whether it's like, one of those long ball pegs to allow the shoulders to shift around or, butterfly joints or something. I think a little bit more shoulder movement would have helped these guys out quite a bit. But still, I like the setup that's here. I mean, it's basic, but it works for the turtle. So yeah, I'm happy with that. See, can he get his arm in front of him for like a cool punching pose? I mean, kinda. It's a little tough. Oh, and you also have a swivel at the elbow, which can be helpful because, if you're trying to swivel right here at the bicep, it kind of like takes up some space because the size of the bicep, but you could kind of push his arm in as far as possible and then rotate right there at the elbow. So that could be helpful for sure. And then as far as the torso goes, just like with most Ninja Turtle figures, it's very limited. There's a ball joint somewhere up in there, but you're not going to really get too much range. We get some nice like side to side rocking action. That's cool. Can't really crunch. Hey, actually, it goes forward a little bit. Look at that. Just a little bit. Doesn't really go back because the shell on the back is pretty hard. So there's no give there. Get a little bit of rotation. And yeah, a little bit of movement at the torso. Definitely limited, but little bit of movement. And then for the legs, I don't love what they did with the legs here because the lower torso part is like hard plastic. So when you try to bring the leg forward, the top of the leg kind of collides with that plastic in there, and it only allows his leg to go forward to about right there. And it kind of like, hits this right here and kind of leaves marks. So you want to be careful there. Actually, if we shift, nope. Yeah, that's as far as his leg can go forward. So it's not horrible, but it's obviously not the best. They could kick out to the side a nice amount though. So for some kicking poses. Hey, there we go. That'll work. Yeah, that's not too bad. Again, I want to repeat, when it comes to turtles, I'm a little forgiving in the articulation department because the designs. But anyways, yeah, he could kick to the side a pretty nice amount. Can't really go back because of that hard shell. It goes back to about right there. And yeah, I wish the forward movement got a little bit more. And then he does have upper thigh swivel. And then they also have double jointed knees. And again, these don't get the best range, but I mean, it's okay. A little more than 90. I don't know what they could have done here. Maybe made this strap smaller or something. I don't know. I mean, that's not bad though. Look at actually that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. And then just like the elbows, the knees kind of have a swivel at the upper knee and then a swivel here at the lower knee. So, You know, there's no like lower leg swivel, but you could get your swivel from that lower knee part, you know? You could kind of do your thing there. It may look weird in some positions, but you know, you can make it work. So that's cool. And then for the feet, man, they're super tight, but they could go forward to right there, and then they could come up to right there, and then we get some rocking action. So yeah, man, like I said, the articulation is much better than we've seen on previous Super 7 turtle figures, but you know, it's not like the most amazing articulation ever. And I hope that they continue to focus on articulation and maybe just keep trying to improve and get better. I think these turtles are like a huge step forward compared to some of the things they've done in the past, but they definitely need to work out some kinks and some tolerances too, man, because some of these joints are very tight, and like right here in the shoulder, get a little bit of scraping. It's like there's not enough room for the shoulder to move clearly. So, you know, they got to fix some things. But let's go ahead and compare the range on his knees and elbows to some other figures. So I have a couple of different turtles here. So here's the NECA stump. Who is this? Michelangelo? I don't even know. But yeah, Michelangelo, I think. But yeah, as you could see, the Super 7 turtle gets a little bit more than this guy here. Not a whole lot more, but, you know, a little bit. And then the legs are about the same, I would say. Maybe a little more on the stump turtle. I love these stump turtles. These are some of my favorites. I really hope NECA puts out some regular turtle outfits on these bodies, because these are amazing. But yeah, as you could see, let's see what's up with Raph's leg. It's like not staying as far as it can go. There we go. But yeah, I mean, the legs, I would say, are about the same. Maybe the slight edge to, I don't know. I would say they're about the same, huh? But the arms are a little bit more on Super 7. And then taking a look at like old Super 7 bullshit, I mean, this is ridiculous. His arm barely goes to 90, and obviously the new one is much better. The legs are ridiculous, and the legs only bend to right there. And then, you know, this is obviously, this is old and outdated or whatever. The sculpt is nice on this guy, but the articulation sucks. Much better on the new ones. And then for the final one, we have the comic Return to New York, Raphael. I love this set. This is another one of my favorite turtle sets. But yeah, as you could see, I would say that the elbow joint is, I mean, the range is pretty comparable on these two. Maybe a little more on the NECA figure. I don't know. It's pretty close. But yeah, that's not too bad, right? And then as far as the leg goes, the Super 7 leg actually bends more than the NECA one. Like the NECA one is pretty much just 90, and the Super 7 one is a little bit more. But I'm pretty impressed with the fact that the Super 7 figures move. I mean, the range on the elbows is up there with the NECA double joint. And maybe I'm not moving this, actually. Maybe hold on one second. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm giving this guy his fair shot. Yeah, see, turtles always have that elbow pad problem to worry about. But what do we got? Now, yeah, see, I would say it's slightly more on the NECA figure, but it's comparable, you know? It's not drastically more, it's a little more. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you that because, again, Super 7 was trying some new stuff with the articulation, and I just wanted to kind of show how they did compared to some other things out there that are similar. But as far as the articulation overall, you know, it's pretty good. I'm having fun playing around with these figures. Again, I'm a little forgiving because the turtle designs do kind of get in the way of the articulation, but for the most part, I like what we have going on here, and I've had a good time posing these guys around. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I never thought I'd say this, but in my opinion, I think that Super 7 actually did a really nice job on these turtle figures. There are some things that I wish were a little bit different that could have made them better. They're definitely not perfect, but they're a solid set of Ninja Turtles. The most important thing about these guys here is they had to capture the look and feel from the show, and I think they do that accurately. They look really good. They're well sculpted. There's some nice paintwork, although I do think that they probably needed a little bit more paint, especially like on the weapons. I do appreciate the shading and stuff on the actual figures, but I think they should have done a little bit more with it. That would have been nice. But thankfully, the sculpts are really good. I love all the head sculpts. And again, to me, they capture the energy of that 2003 show, and that was the main objective here. So that was good to see. As far as the articulation goes, I definitely respect the fact that they're experimenting with articulation and trying to add a little bit more. And I think they were mostly successful here, but they still have some work to do. So hopefully they continue to work on that in the future. But we'll see. I don't know what's up with Super 7 these days because they're kind of having hard times. I think most of the people that worked on these figures may not even be there anymore, unfortunately. Shout out to Kyle. I know he worked on these figures, and he was very excited about them. You know, I have to say, he should be proud of them. I think they came out pretty nice. As far as the accessories go, I do think that they definitely need more accessories. Like for the price especially, they're kind of bare bones when it comes to the accessories. I like that they each came with 2 heads. It's cool that they have extra hands. The weapons are nice. And, you know, I'm pretty happy with Donnie and Mikey's accessories because they come with like one more extra thing that's unique to their characters. It would have been cool to see that with Leo and Raph. But even if they did have like one more thing each, I still feel like that's kind of light. So they definitely need more accessories. And also the accessories should have had like a little bit more love and care. You know, they do feel a little cheap. Like they're not painted. They just look like pieces of plastic. So that should have been different. And as far as the quality and the feel of the figures, I think for the most part, everything felt pretty good. They're fun to mess around with. Most of the joints feel okay. The shoulders and the hips are very, very tight, so you want to be careful with those. Make sure to warm them up or do whatever you have to do to break them in safely. You can definitely snap like one of the hip joints if you're not careful. Like they're very tight right out of the box. So, you know, take caution with those areas. Do what you have to do to make it work safely because you don't want to break one of these guys. And then as far as like the paint and all that good stuff, everything was pretty clean. I didn't really have any paint imperfections. I think I noticed one small paint imperfection on Mikey around the mask, but I could probably clean that up with no problem. Everything else was good. I didn't see any imperfections. Everything was really nice and the paint was pretty crisp everywhere and everything looks good. So as far as like the quality and the feel, I think they did a pretty good job with it, especially compared to some other Super 7 figures that like as soon as I took them out of the box right away, they felt like cheap and ugly and poorly painted. That wasn't the case with these guys. But yeah, again, overall, I think these are really cool figures. Now, here's my main gripe with them though. They're nice figures, but I don't think that they're $60 figures. You know what I'm saying? Like they cost way too much in my opinion. If these were only like 30 bucks, they would be super solid. And I would say they're definitely worth it. But at 60, it's like, man, I don't know if you get $60 value out of these when you pull them out of the box. They feel more like $25 to $30 figures, or even maybe like NECA price. If these were $35.99, I could kind of be like, oh, okay. But at $60, hell no, that's way too much for these figures. You know, at that point, you're looking over $200 for the set. Like, that's crazy. That's too much for these. But again, if you're a big fan of this show, like if the 2003 Ninja Turtles was your shit and that's what you grew up on and you need that version of them, I think you'll be pretty happy with these guys. But I really think that you should definitely try to get these on discount or get a coupon or whatever the fuck. Like, get them for cheaper because for 60 bucks, it's not quite worth it, even though I am happy with them and I think they turned out nice. But again, they're just a little too expensive. So I know that's often my problem with Super 7 figures. But I feel like if some of their figures should only be like 10 bucks and then they'd kind of be worth it. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of their figures cost way too much for what they give you. And I think that is the case with the Turtles. But at least at the end of the day, they're pretty nice figures. So I'm happy with them. I'm really glad to finally have this version of Turtles. If NECA announces that they're going to do this version of Turtles at Comic-Con this year, then I'm getting those two. And I'm sure they'll be a lot better than these. And I'm sure they'll be much cheaper. So yeah, we'll see. But anyways, I do like these figures. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you want to pick up these figures, I'll leave a Big Bad Toy Store link in the description below and in the pinned comments. But like I said, my opinion, wait for a discount or something. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Thank you very much. Peace.